talking with Tracie Peterson about Destined For You. Tracie, thank you for taking the time to chat with us today.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Now, this is a brand new series that you've started, and it's called Ladies of the Lake, and it takes place in Duluth, which is sort of the end of the Great Lakes. Tell us about how you chose Duluth as a setting.
Well, most of my series were set in the West, and I had been working an awful lot in Oregon and Montana and Alaska. And when we discussed it at the publishing house, we said, hey, how about a different setting? And I had always wanted to set one in or on or around the Great Lakes. And so I settled on Duluth, and everybody thought that that was going to be a great setting. Turns out there's so much neat history out of there that it really did provide for a nice series.
Now, speaking of the history, this is the 1860s you're talking about. You must have to do a lot of digging to talk about a location that we sort of all know now, but you're going back. So what's that like to dig out all of that information on a location?
Sometimes it can be really easy, and the area was good about keeping track of their history. They had lots of people who kept journals and diaries, that kind of thing. They are just super proud of their history, so they have museums. Duluth is one of those places where it was really fairly easy to get all the information I needed because they're very proud of their history, especially their lake history. And I had such a fun time just talking with people about the area. And it's neat because different people have different reasons for taking great pride in their area. And so I talked to one man who was heavily involved in sailing and sea wrecks, or the shipwrecks there on the lake. And he gave me all sorts of neat information. And then I talked to someone else who was heavily interested in the forestry service and the logging camps. And so it was just great fun. Lots of information to dig out, even though it was long ago.
Right. Now, most of your books have a very, very strong spiritual element. What are some of the themes that you wanted to bring out in Destined For You?
Writing for me has always been a ministry, and I've always wanted to make sure each of the books share the gospel message. And then I want the books to have biblical application for everybody without beating people over the head. You know, I don't want to be that kind of a writer. But with Destined For You, there is a strong theme of forgiveness, which is usually, it shows up in most of my books. Forgiveness has always been important for me. I've needed it many times, and I've needed to give it. So that to me is a daily kind of issue that I think we all face. There's also the issues of trust and of doing the right thing even when it's difficult, that kind of thing. And so for Destined For You, we have those kind of elements. And I think throughout the series, you'll find much the same. You'll find different things like that: trust issues, faith issues, how to trust God when times are difficult and he lets you down.
I have one last question for you. So we're going to travel back in time, not quite as far as a moment ago. Young Tracie is starting out as an author. So it's a two-pronged question. Are there things that you learned as a young author that you still use those tools today? And are there things that you did as a young author that you can't believe you actually did and got away with, or you learned pretty quickly, that's not how to put together a novel?
Well, for me, it's kind of funny. I tried to apply to get into creative writing in high school and was rejected because she felt like I didn't show enough talent or imagination. So that was something that just drove me forward to do better and to strive harder. And I don't have a college degree, so I can pretty well credit everything back to the Lord. Everything I've learned through a series of just errors and doing it right and going back and forth with other people. I've been blessed to have connected with a lot of other authors. And so throughout that whole experience, I have really focused in on the fact that I'm a storyteller. I'm not good with the technical issues of grammar. My publishers had once sent me a note saying we weren't going to use the Oxford comma anymore. And I had to go look up and see if I was even using it. So now I'm happy to say that we're back to using it. And I've always loved the Oxford comma, just didn't know it had a name. But storytelling is in my blood. I've done it since I was little, probably told some whoppers when I was quite young, and that's what I've learned to focus on. I can learn the technical parts, but the storytelling is what needs to be my strong part.
Very good. Well, I think obviously that's such a very important part of putting together a novel is that imagination. Thank you so much for taking the time today, Tracie, to tell us about Destined for You, and I wish you all the best with this new novel.
Thank you very much.